Don and number 39. Tell anyone that a poor tailor can never achieve high honors. That person can only be a talented master craftsman. But the main problem here is luck. Once upon a time, there was a poor tailor with a sweet personality and an orderly life who worked everywhere. Coming to that vast forest, because he didn't and #39 know the way, he got lost. Darkness fell throughout the forest. In the middle of that cold wilderness, he had no choice but to find a place to stay. Sure, he could lie down on the moss carpet and sleep, but the wild animals wouldn't and #39 leave him alone. Finally he decided to climb a tree to stay overnight. He climbed a tall oak tree and climbed to the top. He prayed to God that he was not blown away by the strong wind. Sitting trembling and afraid for several hours in the dark, he suddenly saw a light not far away. He thought to himself, "There must be someone living in the house. It would be better if we went there to sleep rather than sleeping on a tree branch." He slowly dropped to the ground and walked towards the light. When he arrived, he saw that it was a small house made of reeds. He boldly knocked on the door. The door opened, and through the light, he saw an old man with gray hair, wearing a shirt patched with colorful fabric. The old man asked in a hoarse voice, "Who are you? What business do you have here?" He replied, "I am just a poor tailor. Meeting you in the middle of the forest, please give me shelter tonight." The old man said bluntly, "Go somewhere else and ask for a place to stay. Don and number 39 want to get involved with those who wander around looking for nothing." After speaking, the old man was about to go back in, but the tailor grabbed the hem of his shirt and begged him to let him stay. The old man had compassion for people, so he let him stay, even gave him food and a decent place to lie down in the corner of the house. The tailor was tired, so he lay down and immediately slept until morning. The sounds of deer and cows bellowing through the thin walls into the house startled him awake. Don and number 39 know why the tailor was so violent at that time. He jumped up, quickly put on his clothes and rushed out. He saw right next to the house a black bull fighting fiercely with a beautiful deer. They fought together, causing an entire area of land to be plowed up, and their roaring echoed throughout the entire forest. The two animals fought each other to the death but could not decide the winner. Then the deer stuck its horn into the cow and number 39's belly. The cow roared horribly, and then collapsed. The deer added a few more horns, and the cow died completely. Seeing the two animals fighting fiercely, the tailor felt very strange, so he just stood there dumbfounded. The deer jumped forward and lifted him up onto his big horns. Before he could recover, the deer rushed through the forest, running through mountains, valleys and steppes. The tailor could only try to firmly grasp the horns and abandon his fate as if he were floating in the air. Then the deer stopped in front of the cliff and gently dropped him to the ground. The tailor, who thought he was dead more than he hoped to live, regained consciousness a long time later. Waiting for him to fully wake up, the deer then took its horn and rammed into a door in the cliff, causing the door to burst open. The fire shot out the door, followed by strong water rushing out so that the shape of the deer could no longer be seen. The tailor did not know what to do or which direction to go to get out of this desolate situation and return to everyone. While he was still wondering, he suddenly heard a voice calling from the cliff, "Just step in, Don and number 39. T. Be afraid. No one will harm you. The tailor was stunned, but as if urged by an invisible force, he pushed open the iron gate and entered the large room. The ceiling, walls, and floor were all tiled with 1-meter square stones. The stones were smooth and smooth. Also engraved a very strange sign. He stood there in shock and surprise, thinking about leaving, when he heard the voice calling again, "Step back to the stone slab in the middle of the room. Great luck is waiting for you." He boldly stepped forward to do as he was told. The stone slab below his feet is in another room, just as large as the one above. But there are more strange things here. The wall has many recesses, where transparent crystal vases containing colored wine or blue smoke are known to be inside. On the floor there were 2 glass coffins facing each other. He curiously looked at them. Inside the coffin he was looking at was a model of a beautiful castle, surrounded by outbuildings, warehouses, barns and more. Everything is small and beautiful, created by highly precise and talented hands. He was busy admiring the rare treasure when suddenly a voice called him to turn around and look at the second coffin. From surprise to amazement when seeing in the coffin was a wonderfully beautiful girl. She lay down as if she were sleeping. Her long golden hair seemed like an extremely precious shirt wrapped around her body. Her eyes were closed, but her rosy face and the silk ribbon still shook slightly from her rhythmic breathing, proving that she was still alive. While looking at the beauty, his chest was still throbbing. He suddenly saw her open her eyes. The girl was startled but very happy. She exclaimed, "God is so fair, I and number 39 am about to escape. Quickly help me get out of this prison. You just need to unlatch the coffin to free me." He calmly did as he was told. Lifting the coffin lid, she walked out, went to the corner of the room, took a coat and put it on. Then she sat on a stone, beckoned him to come, kissed his lips very lovingly and said, "My benefactor, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Heaven and number 39's mercy made you come to save me. Today is also his happy day. He is the husband that God has destined for me, loved by me, enjoying all the wealth in this world, and having a peaceful and happy life. Please sit down so I can tell my life story. And quote, I am the child of a rich earl. When I was young, my parents passed away. My parents told me in their last words that the eldest brother would raise me until I grew up. The 2 of us lived very well. They are so harmonious and compatible in their thinking and interests that the 2 brothers decided not to have their own family so they could live together forever. There are not many guests in the house. Neighbors and friends often come to visit. The 2 brothers were always considerate and hospitable to their guests. The story happened when a stranger came to the castle and said he could N&39 make it to the next stop today, so he asked if he could stay overnight. The 2 brothers agreed and welcomed them very warmly. The 3 people sat down to eat, drink, chat, and the guest told stories very charmingly. The brothers were very pleased to get to know the stranger and invited them to stay for a few more days. The guest initially refused, but eventually accepted. Words. It wasn't N#39 until late at night that we finished eating. The guests were taken back to the room. By that time I was already tired. I laid down on the cushioned bed and immediately fell asleep. I had just fallen asleep when the melodious music woke me up. I, not knowing where the music came from, I wanted to call the maid to sleep in the next room, but strangely I felt like the Alp mountains were pressing on my chest. Something was choking my throat, making me unable to utter a word. Meanwhile, through the light, late at night, I clearly saw the stranger entering my room, even though the door was still locked twice. He approached me and said, "Thanks to a miracle, he created that melodious music to wake me up." Then he crawled through the keyhole into my room and confessed his love. I feel so disgusted that I can and number 39, T speak. He stood silently for a long time waiting to see if she would say anything, but she remained silent. He got angry, threatened to seek revenge, punish my arrogance, and then immediately left my room. Fear kept me up all night until dawn before I could sleep for a while. When I woke up in the morning, I wanted to run to your room and tell you what happened at night, but I didn't. And #39. TCU, the servant said, "You were riding a horse hunting with a stranger since early morning." I felt a bad omen, quickly dressed, ordered the horse to be saddled and immediately jumped on the horse and galloped into the forest, with only one servant following. Along the way, the servant fell off his horse and broke his leg, so he could no longer follow her. I had to keep riding my horse to catch up, but a few minutes later I saw the guy, holding a rope tied around the neck of a beautiful deer, walking towards me. I asked him where he is now and how he got that beautiful deer, but the deer and number 39's eyes were filled with tears. Instead of answering me, he burst out laughing. I got angry, pulled out my pistol and shot the demon once. The bullet bounced back and hit my horse and number 39's head. I fell off my horse, saw him mumbling something, and I fainted. When I woke up, I found myself lying in a glass coffin in a tomb. "That demon guy appeared again," he said. "He turned him into a deer." The castle and my entire inheritance were shrunk with magic and imprisoned in another glass box. The servants were turned into smoke and locked in a glass jar. If you follow its wishes, it will dispel the magic right away like a game. It just needs to open the jar lid and the trunk lid and everything will return to its original form. Just like last time, I didn't and #39 say anything. It disappeared and left my face imprisoned in prison and falling asleep in an endless sleep. While I was dreaming, I saw the image of a young man coming to save me. That image comforted me a lot. When I opened my eyes and saw you, that dream had come true today. Now help me complete the other images that appear in the dream. The first thing is, let a number 39's carry the glass box containing your castle in it and place it on this large stone slab. When the box was placed on it, the stone slab slowly moved, bringing both the person and the glass box through the mouth of the tunnel to the upper floor. On this floor there is a dining room that opens to the outside. Once outside, the girl opened the lid of the trunk. And strangely enough, the castle, houses, and gardens kept getting bigger and bigger, and soon they were as big as the real thing. They went back down to the cellar and lifted up the sand from the smoke pot. The girl realized that it was her servant from before. The girl was happy to see her brother, who had turned into a deer, return to human form and come out of the forest. Also on that day, keeping her old promise, the girl gave her hand to the tailor to give her wedding ring in front of the altar. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.